Deep in the heart of the lush Zimbali jungle lived a curious young monkey named Milo. He was always asking questions and loved exploring with his four best friends, Tara the tiger, Benny the bear, Zuzu the zebra, and Lulu the owl. One sunny day, while playing hide and seek, Milo found something strange in an old tree trunk. There was a hollow space, and when he looked inside, he saw a mysterious map. The map showed a winding path leading to a clearing with a big crystal in the center. And hidden in the folds of the map were the words "the crystal of knowledge." Excited, Milo ran to find his friends. "I think I just discovered a secret treasure map," he exclaimed. "Wow, really?" "Lead the way, Milo," said Benny, always up for an adventure. Soon the 5 friends were following Milo along the jungle path, eager to discover what secrets lay ahead. After walking for a while, they came across a wide river blocking their way. The current was strong and the water was deep. "How are we gonna get across?" asked Lulu, looking at the river thoughtfully. "We could try building a raft," suggested Tara, pointing to some vines and logs floating past them. "That's a great idea, Tara. But how do we make something that will float?" asked Milo, looking from the water to the trees lining the river bank. "Well, anything that is less dense than water will float. If we find some big leaves and vines and use this log as the base, we should be able to build a raft," explained Lulu. The friends got to work collecting long, sturdy vines and broad leaves. With the help of the current, they tied the leaves to the log, making a platform to keep them dry. Once they had made a raft big enough for all of them, they carefully got on board. "All right, let's go," said Benny, giving a leaf a little push. The current caught the raft and carried it across the river. As they floated along, Lulu pointed out how the raft was moving faster because of the current. She also explained the concept of buoyancy and why things float. The friends reached the other side safely and left the raft behind. Following the map, they soon arrived at a dark cave with an opening just big enough for one of them to fit through at a time. "This doesn't look very safe," said Milo nervously. "How are we supposed to get through? If one of us goes through the cave, we might not come out at the other side," said Zuzu, looking around for another way. "But that's where the path goes," said Milo, pointing to the map. "There has to be another way," said Lulu, gazing at the cave entrance. Suddenly, Zuzu perked up. "What if we use these stones to make a light to see our way?" she suggested. The friends looked around and found lots of flat stones. They arranged the stones in a circle on the ground outside the cave, and Zuzu started to draw shapes on them with a piece of charcoal. "This looks like fun," said Benny, joining in. Soon, the entire circle was covered with different shapes and lines. "But how does this help us?" asked Milo, confused. "These symbols are like a language. We can use them to make a circuit," Zuzu explained. "A circuit," repeated Milo. Zuzu nodded. "Yeah, a closed path that electricity can flow along." Zuzu gathered some berries from a nearby bush and placed them in a small hole in one stone. Then she poked a stick into a matching hole in the next stone. "Ooh, look, there's a little light coming out," said Milo excitedly. Zuzu continued arranging the berries and sticks until they had made a complete circle of lights. "Let's go," said Zuzu, holding up her flashlight made from a stick and a couple of berries. Together, the lights illuminated the cave entrance, and the friends could finally see the path inside. As they walked through the cave, Zuzu used her flashlight to point out interesting rock formations and stalagmites. They made it to the other side without any trouble and emerged back into the sunshine. "That was amazing, Zuzu," said Terra. "You're such a whiz with technology." As they journeyed further, the path took them to a wide gorge with a fallen bridge spanning the gap. "How are we ever gonna get across?" asked Lulu, looking at the broken bridge sadly. "Let's see what we have to work with," said Terra, always calm and collected. She looked around the area and noticed some large rocks and vines growing nearby. "We can use these rocks to support a new bridge," she said, pointing to the plants growing over the gap. "And we can use these vines as the bridge itself." The others cheered and got to work gathering vines, leaves, and branches. When they had enough material, they started weaving the vines together, making sure to leave space between each vine for people to walk on. Soon they had built a sturdy bridge to replace the old one. Before crossing, Terra explained how bridges are designed to hold up heavy loads by distributing their weight across many parts. The friends crossed the bridge and continued on their adventure. The path led them to a tall wall with carvings of animals and plants. At the top of the wall, they saw a series of gears connected to a lever system. "What do you think this is?" whispered Milo, awestruck. "I'm not sure, but it looks like we need to unlock the gate," said Benny. There were 3 different levers, each with markings of different-sized triangles on them. Maybe the answer has something to do with shapes," said Lulu. She looked closely at the carvings on the wall and saw that they were all triangles. "Each shape may represent a different number," she said. "If we can figure out the pattern, we should be able to unlock the gate." The friends gathered around the levers and started experimenting. They tried moving the levers in different orders and combinations, but nothing seemed to work. "Maybe we need to count the sides of each shape," suggested Benny. The friends looked at the wall again and counted the sides of the carved shapes. Each shape had a corresponding number of marks next to it. "So this means that we need to move the levers the same number of times as the sides on each shape," said Benny excitedly. At last, the path was clear, and the friends felt closer to reaching their goal. The friends gasped as they realized that this must be the crystal of knowledge. "We made it," said Milo, his eyes shining with excitement. As they approached the crystal, they could hear beautiful music coming from it. On it was a message that read, "The greatest power is not in what you find, but in what you learn." "So the real treasure was the friends we made along the way," said Benny. Suddenly, the crystal started to glow brightly, and then the forest around them came to life. The plants waved, and the animals they had met on their journey appeared before them. All of them had something special to share with the friends. The fish they had helped earlier in the river presented them with shiny pebbles. The birds gave them colorful feathers, and the butterflies offered beautiful flowers. "I can't believe our adventure is over," said Lulu. "Me neither," said Zuzu. "But we learned so much and helped so many others along the way." And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button so you never miss out on new episodes. So keep watching, keep exploring, and who knows what exciting adventures await you next on STEM Safari.